Aloha, guys. Dr. Thomas coming back. I'm here again. Yes, that's right. Just when you thought you'd gotten rid of me. Okay, we're going to talk about the sense organs today, the eyes and the ears. This is pretty lengthy, so we will not, we'll have to go into a second video. All right, having said it, let's go. Let's see. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. But we're going to talk about the eye and the ear. Of course, the eye is much more complicated. Here's a lateral view of the eyes. If you cut it away, here's the light coming in. The outer layer is called the cornea. The hole that the light comes through is called the pupil. The colored portion of the eye is called the iris. There's two chambers in the eye, an anterior chamber and a posterior chamber. The anterior chamber has a liquid, watery liquid in it called aqueous humor. Posterior chamber has a thick, viscous called vitreous humor. Here's the word. Okay, on the back of the eyeball is part of the brain. Time for a quick quiz. Oh, by the way, the camera seems to be working fine now, but in the previous one, it was like all, I don't know why. Okay, which cranial nerve controls vision? And yes, it's cranial nerve 2. That's correct. Yeah, here it is. A portion of the brain actually lines the posterior portion of the eyeball. It's called the retina. The retina has the photosensors that detect the light coming in. And then there's three layers. Let's see how they have it. The layers that line the eyelids are called conjunctiva. Then there's the cornea, which is of real importance. I mentioned that a moment ago. Let's see. What else? The area where the sharpest vision takes place on the back of the eyeball is called the macula. And the very, very sharpest is called the Fovea Centralis. And to have good vision, really good sharp vision, you want the light rays to focus right there. We also have a lens. I forgot to mention that. Here it is. The lens and the cornea are what focus that light to come to a sharp peak right there on that Fovea Centralis. The outer white portion of the eyeball is called the sclera. Then there's the choroid. I guess that's enough for now. Okay, now, again, guys, I know this is hitting you with a lot of stuff. Okay, terminology. Aqueo means water. Aqueous, yeah. Blepharo means eyelid. Yeah, it's a little tough, but it's the only one out there that means that. Conjunctivo is the conjunctiva, the lining of the eyelids. Choreo is the pupil. Why is it that when it's a P? I have no idea. The pupil's a little black pinpoint aperture that lets light in. The clear outer covering on the outside of the eyeball is called the cornea. Here's the root word for that. The muscles inside the eyeball that contract and make and focus the lens are called the ciliary body. And cyclo, that sure doesn't look like it would be. Tears or tear ducts, dacryos is the root word for that. We produce tears all the time, guys, as they sweep across the eyeball to keep it moistened. Iris, the colored portion of the eye, is actually the muscle that controls the pupil. It's iro or irido. Keratosis means cornea, again, the clear outer portion. Lacrimal is also another one for tears. Both these are pretty important. Oculo means eye, the root word for eye. Ophthalmo does too. Here it is. Palpebral is the eyelid. Phaco lens of the eye. Doesn't sound much like it, guys. You'll just have to memorize it. Pupillo is pupil. We've talked about that several times. Again, the portion of the it's actually part of the brain. It's in the back of lines the back of the eyeball is called the retina. Retino is the root word for it. Sclera, the white hard portion of the eye. Uvea, vascular layer of the eye. Vitreal means glassy. The only thing I know is vitreous humor, the thick jelly material in the posterior chamber. Amblo means dull or dim. Amblyopia means dim, double vision, I thought. Diplo means double. Okay. Glaucoma means gray. Now, you all probably heard of glaucoma. The aqueous humor in the anterior chamber doesn't drain like it should. It builds up, creates pressure, and destroys those delicate tissues in there. Why it's gray, I have no idea. Myo small, yeah, midro widen. Oh, this is like when they put drops in your eyes to dilate them so the doctor can see in. That's the root words for those. Unfortunately, guys, I guess it's unfortunate, we're going to see some highly specialized terms here in a few minutes that unless you worked in optometry or ophthalmology, you probably wouldn't see them. However, you're going to be tested on them, so you know what that means. Nicto widen, okay, photo means light, doesn't mean night. This is a mistake. Photo means light. Presbyo means aged or old, not light. This is mixed up. Oh, they've got it out of sync here. Yeah. Nicto means night. I thought so. Forget this crap. Nicto means night. Photo is light. Presby is old age. Like, for example, presbyopia. I've got reading glasses on, the kind you buy at the drugstore, because I don't need glasses to see at a distance. I've got good vision. But up close, and I probably have to wear these because I probably have presbyopia, which is the word for a loss of some acute vision as you get older. Scoto, zero, dry. Yeah, they've gotten these out of sync here, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, opia or opsia means vision, tropia to turn, and I guess. Hang in there, I'm sorry. Okay, accommodation. If you go to your eye doctor or your regular doctor and they take a pen or something or a flashlight and they tell you to look at it, as they move it in, your eyes should cross. That's what accommodation is. Anterior chamber, front of the eye, has aqueous humor, right here. Biconvex, the disc of the eye, if you look at it from a lateral view, is a biconvex disc. That's why they're mentioning it here. The lens of the eye looks that way. Choroid, middle vascular layer of the eye between the retina and the sclera. I think we forgot to mention that initially. Ciliary body, structure on each side of the lens that connects the choroid and the iris. The lens, guys, when you contract the muscle, it stretches it and focuses it that way, and then when it relaxes, boing, it focuses it that way. So it modifies the amount of pressure on it, tension. Cone. Okay, there are two kinds of photoreceptors in the retina, rods and cones. Rods are for night vision, peripheral vision, like looking out the side. Cones are for sharp vision and for color vision. Like cones are responsible for color and central vision. Conjunctiva, delicate membrane lining of the eyelids covering the eyeball. Cornea, fibrous, transparent layer of clear tissue extends over a portion of the eyeball. The cornea, guys, also plays a big role in focusing the vision. The lens has most of that duty, but the cornea plays a big role too. Fovea Centralis says depressions in the retina. Yeah, but it should say the area of sharpest vision. Now, see how this can get stupid sometimes, guys? Well, yeah, I guess they are depressions, but what do they do? It's only one. What's it do? It's the area of sharpest vision. Fundus of the eye, posterior inner part of the eye, okay. Iris, the colored layer, opens and closes the eye. It doesn't do that. It changes the size of the pupil, which is opening and closing the eye. But to me, opening and closing the eye is going, and that's not what it does. In fact, we just learned last video that it takes 3 different cranial nerves to do that. Darn it. Lens, transparent biconvex body behind the pupil of the eye. It's what does most of the focusing. Macula, yellowish region on the retina, lateral to slightly below the optic disc, contains the fovea centralis. The optic disc, guys, is where if you look into the eyeball with an ophthalmoscope, you can see the optic disc is where the cranial nerve tube penetrates into the eyeball, and also the blood vessels come in through that. They hadn't mentioned that till now. Optic chiasm, okay, the 2 cranial nerves go out the back and they cross before they go to the occipital lobe of the brain, and the area they cross is called the optic chiasm. Optic disc, we just said what that was. Optic nerve, cranial nerve 2, carries impulses from the retina to the brain. It goes to the cerebral cortex, yes, but more importantly, it goes to the occipital lobe. Pupil, central opening in the eye, surrounded by the iris. Yeah. Refraction, bending light rays by the eye to bring the rays into focus on the retina. Yeah. The lens and the cornea are what are responsible for that. Retina, light-sensitive nerve cell layer containing the photoreceptor cells, rods and cones. Yeah. Rod, photoreceptor cell of the retina, essential for vision, low light and peripheral vision, night vision. Sclera, tough white outer coat of the eyeball. Now, some of these we've mentioned several times. That's okay. That's good. Thalamus relay center of the brain. Yeah. Vitreous humor helps maintain the shape of the eyeball. It's the thick gelatinous material in the posterior chamber of the eye. Okay, now this is something, guys, I wish they wouldn't have put in here. It's a little complicated, but so here's the two eyeballs. Here are the optic nerves. Here's the optic chiasm. They cross, they go back to the occipital lobe of the brain, the visual portion. Now, what they're showing here is some of the portions of what you see stay on the same side, and some of them cross over to the other side. And some of them stay on the same side. That's why it's got both colors here. Also, too, it crosses over and it's upside down. And the brain, vision, guys, actually occurs in the brain. The light, the eyeballs detect the light, but the interpretation of the light waves all takes place back here in the wondrous brain. Okay, now, a lot of people have to wear glasses or contacts, corrective lenses. No problem. So there's basically three. There's nearsightedness, which is myopia. That's the most common. There's farsightedness, which is hyperopia. And there's astigmatism, where the eyeball or the cornea is misshapen. It's the more difficult one to deal with, but it can be. And then there's presbyopia, impairment of vision due to old age, reducing lens accommodation. Okay, and then here's showing how. Remember what I said. You want these things to cross right back here, right on the macula. So with astigmatism, it's crossing way up here. So we got to adjust it with a lens. The same for hyperopia. It's crossing back behind the eyeball. So the right kind of lens will move it up to where we want it. And myopia, it crosses in front. Right, the proper kind of lens will focus it. Bingo, right back where we want it. And basically, presbyopia is to me is a form of nearsightedness. So these are the three errors of refraction. These are what glasses and contacts correct. Cataract. The proteins of the lens of the eye, guys, can become denatured, damaged due to I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this thing set better. Due to UV radiation, stuff like that. So sometimes they have to be removed. It makes them cloudy looking. The leading cause of blindness is diabetes. My brother has diabetic retinopathy. And it's where the blood vessels leak in the eye and it obscures the retina. Microaneurysms, spring leaks in the blood vessels, hemorrhages, dilation of retinal veins. Neovascularization means there's new vessels, which just gives them more chance to spring leaks. What they had to do with my brother's going to zap it with lasers and spot weld them. Glaucoma, increased intraocular pressure, damages retina and optic nerve. The problem with glaucoma, guys, is it's asymptomatic in many cases until the damage has already been done. But it's intraocular pressure from the blockage of the canal of Schlemm. I am not making this up. In the anterior chamber that drains the aqueous humor. Okay, abnormal conditions of the eye. You can have a sty. Who's had a sty before? Go ahead, raise your hand. I can see. Hordeolum is the real name. It's a staph infection, the sebaceous gland, the oil gland, the eyelid. Macular degeneration is quite common as people age. Progressive damage to the macular retina. Nystagmus is, if you've ever seen by that, their eyeball kind of goes ring, ring, ring. I don't know why it does that. I shouldn't laugh. Strabismus, abnormal deviation of the eye. Cross-eyed. Mole-eyed. Retinal detachment. Okay, people in contact sports, guys. Or people that's been traumatized. Sometimes it causes their retina to be detached. It actually knocks it loose, like boxers and stuff. And there's different ways they can treat that, but they have to reattach it because it folds over and obscures, and then the photoreceptors aren't available to be stimulated. Floaters, vitreous clumps of the retina. Sometimes you'll see them float across your eyeball. Sclerobuccal, buccal to buccal retina to the sclera. That's one way of dealing with it. It's getting about, we're just about running out of time. Pneumatic retinopexy, gas bulb injector in vitreous cavity help reattach the retina. Also, guys, they can spot weld it with a laser. They turn you upside down, let it float back into place, and then zip, zip, zip. Okay, time's up. We're going to continue the next one. See you next time.